Welcome to your Daily Revolution podcast. Today's topic, you ain't mad enough. That's why you stay stuck. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
My name is Setema, Gali, the founder and creator of the Prosperity Revolution, a global movement that helps you to get out of scarcity and into prosperity every single day. A movement where people have value, things do not, where money is a result of helping people, where you're rewarded for creating value for others, and where prosperity is not the result of luck, but a predictable steps and formulas, and where happiness is the ultimate goal.
A beautiful day here in Southern California. It is, it's hot already. Sun is out. It's January. And I want to say thank you for listening to the podcast. So took my boys out to breakfast this morning. I took them to McDonald's because they wanted some. And then once I dropped them off at school, my wife and I, we actually went to our spot called Stacks. Now, if you ever been to SoCal, there's a couple Stacks locations. There's a handful of them. Great pancakes, great cow bean katsu. And while my wife and I were eating breakfast, we started to have this conversation about just people in general. And my wife and I will often sit in my car and we'll just talk. Let the boys go in the house and we just talk. And this is where we talk a lot about God and politics and raising our boys and just people we know and family. We just have these great conversations. That's why we're so close. Well, we started talking about people in general. And my wife asked me a question like, how do some people really change? Because what I do as a coach and as a speaker, as a trainer, as an author is I help people change their life. I can teach you how to sell. I can teach you how to market. I can teach you how to organize and run meetings. I teach people all these things. But at the core base of what I do, the center of what I do, it is we transform lives. We help people get clear. We help people pull down the lies or these distinctions for power. And I answered the question. I said, the reason why a lot of people don't move, why the needle doesn't move, why they don't move, why they don't change, why they stay stuck is because they don't know how to get angry. And she's like, what? We both grew up in very Christian homes or Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We read scriptures and pray and we do the whole church thing, right? We do that thing. That's how we were raised. And then we had to figure that out for ourselves. And so when you grow up in a Christian home, sometimes you kind of take this soft stance, like, Christ was nice and turn the other cheek. And there's all these great principles that are taught, which I believe. And at the same time, there's a place where when people get so stuck and they play the victim card and they're just like, life's not fair and they can't seem to move and they can't seem to get out of being broke or in poverty or being in a horrible relationship or being addicted to something, a substance, or addicted to pornography or addicted to work, addicted to money. And they want to avoid, when they're just not living life the way they want to live, one of the greatest things they can do is access this anger. And people are like, oh, I don't agree with that. There's always a group of people who say, love is the answer. And I get it. I get it. Love, love, perfect love casteth out all fear. I can quote scriptures. You want to talk scriptures. You want to talk theology. I can do that. And I'm also very practical. See, when you're stuck and struggling, especially as a business owner, especially as an entrepreneur, or even a stay-at-home mom, right? Which is the stay-at-home mom. You're like one of the best entrepreneurs of all time, right? Organizing schedules and calendars and rides and birthday parties and sports and music and take care of your husband and the food and the laundry. There's props to all you mamas out there. I love you. I appreciate you. I love my two moms, right? But listen, when you feel stuck and you feel struggling, you can't move. Anger. See, there's a book called Power versus Force, and I'm going to sum up this very thick book, thick like a phone book. And Dr. Hawkins talks about the scale of consciousness. And he says on the bottom where there's apathy, where people just don't care, and it's like they're so hopeless and they're in such despair. There's two ways out of this thing. Number one, right, an angel or God himself comes and visits you. Well, look, that's probably not happening for most of you. It could happen. The second thing, which is most likely for everyone, is that you've got to become angry. You've got to wake up. You've got to have someone slap you in the face, punch you in the gut, and hell, even like punch you in the throat, like figuratively speaking, of course, and maybe not. Because you're so blind. You're so blind to possibility. You're so blind to reality that you're living in this fake world of victimhood, victim mentality. And victim meaning like, it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. Like, what's wrong? Like, why is this happening to me? Victim talk. And you know anyone that says life is not fair or that's not fair, you know they're delusional. Of course life's not fair. But when you expect it to be fair, that's like being a gazelle out on in Africa. And why are the lions trying to eat me? It's called life. And so accessing anger sometimes gets you to a point where you hate it so bad, you get so tired. And you actually get mad and you actually get angry and you get upset and you start to channel and focus that frustration into fuel to the point where you get so angry at whether it's God or you get so angry at the world or you get so angry at your spouse or your children or whoever did whatever to you, the person who sued you, the company that let you go, that did you wrong, the person that stole your idea. You get so channeled that it actually gets you to move. Like, think about this. How many of you are just so lulled asleep, right? You've been pacified to sleep. It's just be grateful. Life is so good. I'm just going to be grateful. I just trust God. I trust God too. Right? I trust God when like Proverbs 3. Again, I can quote scriptures till the cows come home. I can talk theology in different religions and different belief systems because I've studied it. Like I'm a student of it. And I am one who puts my trust in God. And faith without works is dead. And you got to work out your salvation with trembling and fear. And it is 100% on you. And it is only after the grace of Christ. So let's not even go down that path. Let's just say you can be angry at God. You can be angry at neighbors. You just like channel something. Wake up. Because at the end of the day, 100% it's on you. It is on you. 100% responsibility is on you. Your choices, your decisions determine the destiny of your destination and where you arrive. And if you fail to make conscious and intentional and deliberate decisions, guess what? You arrive at a default destination. And then you try to turn on the victim card. And one of the greatest things you can do is look at your situation and just tell the truth and say, am I happy? And if you're like, no, then like, dude, I don't like this. And get mad about it. You got to try it. Because some of you say, oh, life is good. I'm just going to be grateful. And I wish I could do that. I wish I could have that. They're so lucky. And you let years and decades pass. And then you get into your 30s and into your 40s being a victim. You watch all these people on social media just absolutely crushing it. And you watch them and you're like, man, they're so lucky. Oh my gosh, how did they launch that apparel line? How did they launch their coaching business? Wow, they went and started and they raised venture capital. Wow. But you stay stuck. You ought to look at yourself and you ought to be mad. You ought to take a good look in the mirror and say, man, what might have been, what could have been, had I just had the courage, had I just had the courage, or had I just had the cojones, if I just had the guts to do something. And it's okay to be mad. In fact, you ought to channel the anger. You ought to get mad. If you're physically fat, overweight, unhealthy, if something's wrong with your body, guess what? Get mad and do something about it. My back for 20 years from football, dating back to, I remember even having problems in high school, but then in college, man, and my 2-year mission, we're talking mid 90s and then late 90s. To close out the 90s, right? I had issues. I didn't practice the week we played Florida State. And I was just like, golly. And then for 20 years, up to 2019, I just struggled. My back has given me pain. I've just been mad. I got angry and I'd pray and fast. I'd get a blessing from my church leaders. And then I'd take, all kinds of medicines. And I was getting ready to have surgery. I got an MRI 2 years ago, And I was so mad. I was like, man, I'm so sick of this. So I started to go into this deep search and this hunt. And it landed me up with my boy Luca up in Seattle, Washington at Vigor Ground Fitness. I met a man by the name of Dan Swinsko. So Luca, Dan, and Dr. Stu McGill, and like my back healed within like a week. I was getting ready to have surgery, but I did all this stuff because I was so sick and tired of not being able to play basketball. And I was always in pain. And wherever I'd go, like I just getting in and out of cars and sitting up. I was sick of it. I'd endured it for 20 years. I'd endured it and I was like, I'm done. I will either find a way or have surgery. And I figured it out because I got mad physically, right? Take a look at your finances. Take a look at your life right now. Let's be real, right? I know there's people out there who are like, it's income over income or impact over income. Like you see all this kind of stuff online. And look, I get the context of where they're coming from, but you got to understand this. When you have very little money, forget impact and go make income. And it ought to piss you off if you haven't been able to fly private or you don't have the cars you want. It ought to piss you off that you're broke or you're like living this average life. And again, remember, you know who my podcast is for? It is not for the average person because the average person is going to listen to Setema. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. He can't be grateful. Oh, I promise I'm grateful. I am extremely grateful. I love my life. I love what I drive. I love how I live. I love how I travel. I love the people I work with. I love the people I go to church with. You know that September, like twice a month, I got to meet with these young 8-year-olds. Like this part of my church. I meet with these young 8-year-olds and I'm like, we do activities and we teach them things and we help them set goals. I don't get paid for that. Like that's called voluntary service. Right? And then I go speak to football teams and I coach football. Like I give back and I love it. So I still can make my impact, but don't fall for the whole impact over income. Focus on making an impact. I get it. But listen, man, if you broke right now, or if you ain't making the money you want to make, you ought to get a little bit mad because someone lied to you. Someone told you wrong that you ought to settle, where if you want to be prosperous, you actually could go be as prosperous as you wanted to. 100%. So take a look at your business. Take a look at your finance. Take a look at how you market. Take a look at how you sell. Take a look at your daily life experience, how you wake up in the morning, how you feel every day. If you're just not loving your life, at least, at least 50 to 70% of the time, I hope it would be like 80 to 90. 8 out of 9 days, you're just like, man, I'm on cloud 9. You can be what you want. Like, right, just on cloud 9. Like it's so good. If you're not living that way, go check yourself. And it's okay to get mad. Don't be trying to like finesse. I'm going to go figure this out. This is why I run immersion. This is why I do something like immersion, where we kick people's ass on the beaches. I wake them up. I'm not there to be their friend. As you can tell, I get a little fired up about this because there's a lot of people out there that are hurting. They're out of alignment spiritually, right? They're out of tune. So instead of living up to what they truly believe is their religion or their faith or their spirituality or promises or covenants, right? Instead of living up to those things or living close to it or striving to live to it, they out screwing everything, they sniffing all, they're not living the way they know they should. And then they justify it and they rationalize it. And then they get into their 40s and then they get into their 50s and they're wondering like, why am I so miserable? But you can put a filter on, you can put a smile on, you can sugarcoat this stuff with, if you got a lot of money, you can go sugarcoat it with new toys. But at the end of the day, you're still empty and you're still miserable. So I'm saying some of y'all need to wake up, go check yourself. Anger is a good thing, right? Getting upset about the gap from where you are versus where you ought to be, where you could be, it ought to piss you off. It ought to get you fired up. It ought to move you to be like, okay, I'm done. Like I'll throw away all the junk food in my house. I'm going to cut out these channels or whatever things on the computer are not good for me. I'm going to get rid of all the drugs. If you're on drugs, I'm going to get rid of all these people who just suck me down like crabs in a bucket. I'm doing something different. Because my friends, whether you believe it or not, you got one life to live on this planet. You got one shot at this. And every day that passes is gone. And your greatest asset is time. And so go get mad. It's okay. It's okay and you can still have faith. Faith ought to move you to action. You can still love people, but there ought to be a fire in your belly. There ought to be something that's just like, man, as one of my good friends says, man, there ought to be something that just wakes you up to be like, this is how I live. I promise you, Setema, the 2021 is going to be my best year, best shape of my life. I'm already strong. work, like hit my macros. Took my boys to breakfast this morning, right, as I talked about earlier. Like date my wife week. Like I'm living at a high level and trying to get to the next level. People are like, why don't you, what drives you? Because I want to be great. I don't want to get to the end of my life. And I do not want to meet the man that I could have been and have that guy look at me and say, what happened? Like, why did you stop? Why did you play small? Why did you not live the life you were supposed to live? We could have impacted those people. We could have impacted those people. We could have touched those. You could have did all these things, but instead you got comfortable and complacent. So my friends, what's it going to take for you to wake up? What's it going to take for you to, and if it's anger, channel the freaking anger. Channel it, access it, tap it. Get out of apathy, get out of mediocrity. And again, being comfortable, it makes men soft. That's why I love to work out. I love to run. I got to go hit me a 3 to 5 mile run today. I got to go hit it. I got to go get after it. So I love you guys. Thanks for listening. And listen closely. If you are at a space in your life right now, if you are at a space in your life where you know that you need something more than just a podcast, where you need something more than just a YouTube video, and you're looking for someone to shake you and wake you and just like harrow your soul and beat your heart so you can wake up. When you get this message and you know that's you, and you're just like, man, my marriage isn't here. And again, on the outside, all might look well. All is well on the outside, but on the inside, you know. I want you to write this phone number down. It is 314-753-6555. 314-753-6555. One more time. 314-753-6555. His name is Sean, S-H-A-W-N. You shoot him a text message and you say, Sean, I want to come spend 4 days with Setema. Sean, I want to spend 4 days with Setema. I promise you, if you have any desire to forget about the tuition or what that's going to cost you, because I'll tell you right now, it's costing you. It is costing you money right now to stay where how much is it costing you to live where you live? And I don't mean physically, but to stay where you stay, to not live up to your greatest calling, to not live your fullest purpose. How much is it really costing you right now? And like, I couldn't do it alone. So I tell people, go find a coach, go find the program, go find a mentor, go find a coach, go find a bishop, go find an evangelist, go find someone on the outside of you that can shake you and smack you and pray with you and guide you and lead you and kick you in the butt. Whatever is needed to get you to move, because there is a mission for you to fulfill. And right now, my friend, if you're listening to this and your heart is like, damn it, that's me, then you know I'm talking to you. 314-753-6555. Shoot Sean a text message. Say, I want to come spend 4 days with Setema. Get on the phone with Sean. Don't be scared, right? Don't be afraid. And have that conversation. My friends, if this has been helpful, let me know. This turned into more of a rant today, but it was needed. I love you. Have a great day, my friends.
This is your daily revolution. Live in prosperity, we show you how to do it. There's no luck about it, we got the strategic blueprint. This is your daily revolution. You already know. And if you don't, then check my resume. Turning pressure into possibilities every day. Y'all can win and live our unique purpose. We change our mindsets and put the work in. This is your daily revolution. Daily revolution. Revolution. Your daily revolution podcast.